Hello, my name is Paul Arnold. I serve as a chaplain here at Glacier Hills. And Glacier Hills is a big campus, and we have a lot of people working here, and we're so glad to welcome Jennifer Finley here to serve as our administrator in the Manor building. And she comes with a lot of experience, and you've probably only seen her with a mask.
Yes.
So today you get to see her whole face. What a revelation, right?
Yes.
And so we've been talking about how things have been so much different in healthcare since COVID has started, and things are looking up. But I thought it'd be a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about Jennifer's story so that you know who you're talking to, who you're sending emails to. And so I've really been impressed how hard Jennifer works and how much she wants to engage with our residents. And Jennifer, one of the things you impressed me about was we have a group of residents in the Manor. They get together, sort of, in the lobby area, and they like just to see another resident and talk. And I see you going and talking with them and engaging with them. And so how many years have you been working in healthcare?
Over 30 years. So pretty much most of my adult life started out as a nursing assistant when I was 18. Actually, when I was 17.
Okay.
And I went to nursing school when I was, I think, 19, 20. And I've been in that, healthcare realm for the most part, the majority of my career. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you like about it? What drew you to nursing?
So really, nursing was not my first thing. So my first thing was I was supposed to go to medical school. That was the plan. But life happens, things change. And so I figured, nursing is the next best thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give that a go. My grandmother was a nurse, and so I went to school. I applied to school, took the testing, and I went to school, and it was a perfect fit for me. It was a great fit. I like the ability, in nursing you can do so many things, and you're not kind of sequestered to your specialty. You have the flexibility of changing your specialty if you desire to do that. And so I've worked in a lot of different things. I've worked in allergy and immunology, I've worked in substance abuse, I've worked as a GI nurse at U of M in medical procedures for about 12 years. But the majority of my career has been serving seniors, and that's really where my heart is. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, I do too. I love hearing their stories.
Yep.
I had a great relationship with my grandparents, and I was talking to some of the residents about how they can tell if somebody working here really shows them respect and understands that they still have dignity no matter what age or capacity they have, and we see value in a person of any age. And in this community there's so many wonderful stories too. Like some of their stories inspire me to travel more when this virus is over and do other things. So I grew up in Midland, Michigan. Did you grow up in Michigan as well?
I did. I was born in Royal Oak.
Oh yeah?
So I grew up in southern Oakland County. I really grew up in Clawson. My parents were from Birmingham. So I spent the majority of, all those years until I turned 18, 19. And then I moved to Monroe. And I lived there for a little chunk of time. And then I kind of moseyed back to, that Oakland County neck of the woods and was there until my mid-20s, and then I came out to the Plymouth Canton area, and that's where I've been ever since. So that's really where my home is now.
Yeah, and now you're in the far west reaches of Ann Arbor, or she's gone west. So we think of this campus as being pretty big and pretty diverse, but I wonder, as a new person coming in, what were your impressions?
Well, my impressions were, the one thing that was really neat is, Glacier Hills has a really significant, storied, kind of history, and always has had this really great reputation. And I've worked in the Ann Arbor area for a long time now, so there's always been some connection that I've had to Glacier Hills, whether it be referring people here or coming here to do an evaluation of a resident that was maybe going to move into the community that I was running at the time. But my impression was, the people that, are part of my direct team, and then the others that have been here for a while, years, many years in some instances, was so awesome, and their dedication, you know, to the community, to the campus, to the residents, and to each other was terrific. And that's what gives you confidence when you join a team and you've got some of those people with that kind of tenure. It just makes you feel good. They have their wealths of knowledge, you know, they know the history,
Sure.
they know how to find how to get from one place to another when you're lost like me and you didn't leave a trail of breadcrumbs to find your way. But so those things have really helped me, and there's many residents that have lived here for a significant period of time, and I've had conversations with a number of those folks, and to see the commitment that they have to the campus is really awesome. So to be part of something that's really, you know, kind of the bedrock of this area in serving seniors is super cool. And so, you know, anytime you start a new job or a new position, there's some, you know, discomfort or, you know,
a little nervousness,
little anxiety, you know, even if you've been around a long time like me.
Sure.
And the place that I left, I didn't leave because of a bad situation. You know, it was really a hard decision for me to do, but it was because I didn't want to travel any longer. But being here now, you know, I'm feeling more and more connected, you know, like every week. It's been about 6 weeks now. But I'm feeling more and more comfortable and more part of.
Only 6 weeks? It seems like you've been here longer because
it does, on
you
some
hit
days
the ground running, and she came in, and the Manor is a very complex building in our facility. There's a lot of different care needs, and Jennifer came in and just went right at it and started learning people's names and talking to people and collaborating. And so what do you think is some of the most important things that you do for our residents?
Have honest conversations with them. Make sure that they know what to expect. To give them good feedback. To be a resource, really.
Yes, definitely.
Even if it's just for a conversation, and sometimes that's what it is, or a reassurance. But just to be a good resource and be able to help them if they're having a struggle, come up with some solutions to you know, kind of tackle whatever it is that they're trying to deal with, and doing that, you know, with dignity and respect and so forth.
When I first came here 7 years ago, after about 4 or 5 months, I realized what a common theme for everybody is transitions. Everybody's going through transitions, and there's an old joke that nobody likes change except for a wet baby. And so none of us like change, and yet one of the key things I think for your job is helping people realize when change is happening, whether they want it or not, and what's the best way we can manage and help them through that change, because change happens for all of us. I mean, you just look in the mirror, at least I do, and I see change all the time. So I think your role as a change agent or helper, that you help them make those transitions, is really important. And I see you having those family meetings and being clear and consistent about what we can offer and how we can help them is so key. And I've noticed during the pandemic that the anxiety of our residents' families have gone up too, because they can't come in here anymore, and they're wondering how their loved one's doing, and without seeing them, it grows. And so keeping those phone calls going, those emails going is really important. I know that Jennifer's on top of those things. I've seen it. I've heard it from some of our residents as well. But just yesterday we heard some good news from our governor that they're starting to relax or change some of the precautions, and we're seeing some hopeful signs. I know in Michigan, you've been here long enough, that when we have a warm day in March, it really doesn't mean a whole lot. We're not out of winter yet. We could have winter after Easter even, but these are signs of hope. When you look toward the future, you know, when you've been here a whole whopping 6 months instead of 6 weeks, what do you hope for that we're going to get to in the next 6 months?
With respect to the pandemic and our situation? So I'm pretty hopeful, and interestingly, we talked about this. We had kind of a team meeting this morning, and to close out the team meeting, we talked about, how everybody's feeling, just personally.
Yeah.
Because in as much as, our residents have been so impacted, their families have been so impacted, the reality is we've all been so impacted.
Very much.
So this affects each one of us, on a personal level, every single day, all the time, with everything we do. But I'm very optimistic with the 3 vaccines now that we have, especially the Johnson & Johnson, which is a one and done.
Yeah.
Some people are like, well, gee whiz, it's only 66, 71% effective. When you talk about vaccinations, that's a really good rate of efficacy. And so adding that to the mix is really going to be a game changer. So I'm hopeful that, we're going to be able to really ramp up vaccinations, which is going to eventually influence our numbers. We really haven't seen any influences in our numbers with respect to vaccinations yet. We just don't have a high enough vaccination rate. But that's coming. Maybe towards the end of March, I think we'll see that. But I'm hopeful that, by the time we get into summer, in June, that we will be having a lot more freedoms. Enabling people to come and go without much question. We're still going to be wearing masks on some level. You still have to, exercise caution and be mindful of who you may or may not be interacting with. You don't know what they have or haven't done. But I see, getting people into the building, and I'm not talking visitors because we're working on that right now.
Yes.
And in the next week or so, we're going to have some news on how that's going to work now.
Right.
So we're going to have people coming in the building, but I'm talking about getting people from the outside in that are going to, play music for us or bring activities and life enrichment things for our residents. Be able to interact with our crew, our colleagues better and different, so that we can re-engage them with things like, showing them appreciation, which you try to do through the pandemic, but you can't do it the same way we used to when we used to have a potluck.
I know. I know.
Or you give somebody a hug because they're having a tough day.
Right.
Or you're thankful that they're there.
Right. Or just a touch on the shoulder,
yeah,
or a handshake even.
That stuff is the most important thing, and I see us getting much closer to that. And especially, people that have both been vaccinated, I think those interactions are going to have a lot more freedoms.
Yeah.
Going forward.
I'm really looking forward to when we can have group worship again. Right now I'm leading small groups, and something I talk about a lot is quality of life. And when you move to a facility like this, the residents, they want to have a certain quality of life with interactions, or they would have stayed home.
Yep.
And quality of life is getting sometimes assistance brought in, but it's a lot about engaging each other and learning about each other's stories. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward, and we're getting closer, but just a more curiosity, when you're not here, when you're not having the administrator hat or
Yep.
the nurse hat on,
Yep.
or whatever, what do you enjoy doing? What brings you relaxation or entertainment or?
Gosh, all sorts of things.
Okay.
So one thing is this kind of weather. So I love to be outside. I love to work in the yard. I'm kind of a tomboy at heart, so I really love sports. I will feel like we've really crossed the threshold of the pandemic when I'm able to go down to Comerica Park and watch a ball game.
Yeah.
So I haven't missed an opening day except for last year.
Yeah.
In decades.
Oh, wow.
So if I can go to a ball game, that'd be great. I love gardening. I have a vegetable garden.
Oh, nice.
I love music, but I love spending time with my kids. I have a lot of those. So really having family barbecues and get-togethers and people coming over to the house is what I love and what I look forward to.
Yeah.
My place is kind of the place where people like to come and do that. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that in the nice weather.
I lived down in the South for many years. When I moved back, I realized how much I miss Michigan summers. But we pay for it during the winter.
I know,
but the
I
Michigan
know.
summers are great, and I'm a huge Tiger fan, so I have to ask, who's your favorite Tiger of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, not the current team, but maybe when you were growing up.
When I was growing up, I always wanted to be, when I was playing, because I play ball too.
Okay.
So, but I always wanted to be Norm Cash when I was at the plate.
Storm and
Norman.
Yes.
Did
you have a piece of chew in your mouth and spit like
Norman? No, bubble gum, big wad of bubble gum, for sure. But I remember growing up and going down to games and sitting in the bleachers.
Oh, yeah. It got hot out there.
Getting Mark Fidrich's autograph.
Oh, wow. The bird.
And I remember a cool story. My nephew, Steven, who is now, 28, I took him, well, my brother and I, his dad, used to go to Tigers games all the time with my mom. And when the 84 era Tigers were playing, Lance Parrish was our catcher, and we used to go early to games so we could watch pitching, batting practice and all that kind of stuff. And the guys a lot of times would come and see the kids, they'd sign balls.
Right.
So before the game, my little brother was, kind of waiting, and he was kind of in the background. All these kids are pushing and shoving, and Lance Parrish had come up, and he waved my brother over, and he shook his hand, and he wrote on a ball for him. And then some years later, I took my nephew, his son, down to a Tiger game, and Lance Parrish was the third base coach. And he got to meet him. And it was so cool because it was like, all over again, but a little bit different. It was so much fun.
Lance Parrish is a big guy. He still is a big guy.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, my favorite growing up was Bill Freehand because I was a catcher. And then later on when I went to a game with my grandmother, I took her in 1984 when they won it all. They clinched the game, the AL Division Championship when we were there, but the only tickets I could get were right field, upper deck. And would you believe it, Sweet Lou Whitaker hit a home run up there near us, and I never saw my grandmother so happy. But actually my favorite Tiger besides Bill Freehand is Kirk Gibson. Gibby, he always played with so much heart and loved that, and used to listen on my 8-volt transistor radio growing up.
Me too. My papa, who was my grandpa, he hardly ever watched the games. So I grew up with a great respect for Ernie Harwell, whom I love.
Paul Carey.
And listening on that AM radio to Tigers games and hearing it in his room like if I spent the night. That was super awesome. I love that stuff. That's fun.
When they played West Coast games, I would sneak it in my bed and have a little earpiece and fall asleep listening to the Tigers. So I bet there's a bunch of people watching this can relate to some of the Tigers.
I'm sure.
And the 68 Tigers were pretty amazing as well. But we're hoping for Tigers. They'll have a good year this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be happy just to watch some baseball.
I know.
In person.
So many things we took for granted. Before this pandemic.
Yeah, stuff that you'd never think of until you're not able to do it, and it's not an option. So it gives you more appreciation for just the basic things that really are important and really give quality of life, like you said. Just to us on an everyday basis, those little things.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Well, I want to thank you, Jennifer, for joining me.
Thanks for making this very painless. I appreciate it.
I didn't get to my painful questions. Doggone it. So thanks for watching. There'll be more Life in the Hills talk show to come.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to make origami. Most famous origami in Japan is crane. If we know how to make crane, you can tell people I know how to make origami. But there are many, many things you can do with a piece of paper. This is a paper you can use from wallpaper or just piece of printing paper, or you can buy it from a store, but you have to be careful. You have to find a very soft and nice paper. Some could be very expensive, but don't use that expensive one. And some are too hard to fold. So if you go to store, you can take a look which one is good, but this is very good paper. I can fold very easily. And this is a lot of a story about crane, and people from all over the place. They make 1,000 cranes and send to Japan for the peace in Hiroshima. So I'm going to show you how to make This is a paper, usually 7 by 7 inch, 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter. And it has to be perfect square, otherwise it doesn't come out right. But you don't have to worry if you buy this paper. It's cut very nicely. Okay, I'm going to start crane. And first you have to put the color side up, fold, diagonally, press very hard. And I usually use my nail. And the other side, bring to the top. Make sure it meets the end perfectly. And fold this. And flip over. And this is horizontally. Fold here. And the other side, horizontally. Fold nicely. Okay. And now from here, you're going to collapse this side, so make perfectly square, small size of a unique square pattern. Then this is going to be a base of a crane. Then before I start it, I make sure every corner is perfectly lined. Looks okay now. Then this is the top. This is the edge, 4 edges, and hold the edge and fold toward the top. This is going to repeat 4 sides. And okay, this side is done, so flip over. I start the other side. Okay, 4 sides. You have to line up equally, so it comes out nicely. And fold from here to make a line, so it's easier to fold. Then the reason we are folding is it's easier to make a crane. You can see the end. So you have to go, just follow this line. Okay. See how easy it is if you follow the line. And just need a little practice doing this. Okay, this side is done. So we follow the other side. Flip over, and this one you fold this side and open up. Just exactly follow the line. Make sure each corner meets exactly the way it is. If it doesn't come out, you can start all over. All right. Now make sure this side you can open side, and we start folding this side. To bring it to the center, this bring to the center. And fold in the middle. Make sure, make crease and turn over. Almost done. Okay. Now you have to bring this side this way, the other side. The other side, and make creased Then this side bring all the way up until you cannot push it up. And then press it and turn over the other side. Press, make sure all press nicely. And open this side and open the other side too. Press this way. Now this two side, this is going to be a head. The other side is going to be a tail. So just hold this one on the bottom side, just bring up like this. And this is going to be head, this is going to be a tail. Okay. So whatever you want to, you can put any size you want to. And this, I'm going to pinch this head side. This is head. And this is going to be a wing. So hold, bring down this. Press. The other side. Press. Ta-da! It's done.